So our purpose for this topic is to really give you the education you need to be able to make good decisions when you go to purchase or build new computers, buy software. Make sure you're making the choices for the right reasons, not just what you want, but what you need. And there is a real big difference between that. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to dissect what the term software and hardware really mean, and what are all the major components of a computer, the different types of software that you need to understand. So with that underway, let's start with software. So let's see if I can get this going here. There we go. So software versus hardware. What is the difference between the two? Well, as you can see here, hardware are the physical components that actually make up the computer, the things you can actually touch. Keyboards, touch screens, everything, the mouse, all these different things that you can physically touch. Even the stuff inside, so your graphics cards, all those kinds of things, those are all hardware. Software, on the other hand, are the programs, the digital instructions that tell the hardware what to do and how to do it. For example, like Windows or Mac OS X, those are operating systems, and they tell the actual hardware components how to work, like what to do, like how to actually save onto a hard drive and whatnot. Whereas other versions of applications like Microsoft Word, for example, they may just say save this, and then that communicates with the operating system, and the operating system actually does the hard work of talking to the hardware. So there are different layers of software as well. So with that, let's talk about the two different types of software. The first type is the system software, and this is again like Windows and whatnot. So software the system uses to perform its basic functionality, whether it's printing or whether it's just saving to the hard drive, as we mentioned before. And this is like the most basic things. It's what you expect your computer to be able to do at all times without any special tools on your part or special skills. So you don't think about it. Your body knows how to do it just like the computer. You just expect it to know how to print, for example. So different type of system software, operating systems, of course, BIOS software. This is what really checks your computer. When you hit that power button, it runs through a whole bunch of system checks to make sure everything's operating the way it should, and responds with a series of beeps and whatnot to make sure that you know that everything's okay. The driver software, this basically every component, every piece of hardware in the computer has a driver, which is a piece of software that tells the operating system how to work with it, right? A set of instructions that it can recognize and whatnot. So every computer requires the basic system software, such as an OS, but not all devices require system software, like printer drivers or even the BIOS. They don't all require these types of things. The user software is what you use. These are the types of software that the end user or the person, they actually interact with. A lot of times we call these apps, applications, programs. They go by a lot of different names. And so just some examples: web browsers like Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, obviously Microsoft Edge nowadays, Google Chrome. Ironically, the two most used are not in the list. Word processors, Word, Notepad. I can't remember what it's called on Mac, Pages or something like that. Photo editing, Photoshop, Paint, CorelDRAW, all sorts of different programs. Of course, video editing, Adobe Publisher, Sony Vegas. I'm a big fan of a number of different other ones, cheaper ones, but use what you want. Video games, of course, these are all end-user software. This is user software. Video games like League of Legends, Tomb Raider, Halo, Destiny, whatever you're into. And of course, there's many other types of software out there. It's really hard to categorize every single one, but basically any piece of software that runs on your computer or any device you have is indeed user software if you're the one interacting with it. So clearly not everyone would use all the software listed. So for example, a lot of people will never touch video editing software in their entire life. Why would they? They might hire somebody to do it, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it. Most everyone's going to use simple things like web browsers, word processors, and things like that. Well, definitely video games for most of you, and myself included, of course.